All right, let's check in at Roland Garros and see what the heck happened as Djokovic takes out Musetti in 5 sets at 3 in the morning is when it ended. And we're going to talk about if this is a good sign for Djokovic or if it's a bad sign that he almost spent 5 hours on court in the third round going into round 4. We're going to take a look at how Alcaraz played as he destroyed Felix Auger-Aliassime. We're going to break it all down here and get up to speed on the slice. Thanks for being here. All right. Welcome back to the studios. Been a couple days off here in the middle of the tournament, but due to some personal commitments. But there's been a lot going on. And the main thing that's thrown everybody off in this last couple days is the scheduling, at least for me. With all the rain that's been going on, all the delays, they've had to do matches the next day. People have been playing back-to-back days, which is obviously not normal at a major. So there's been kind of complete chaos, and I do feel bad for the Roland Garros organizers. But we've made it through. Half the quarterfinals are set. Half them will be, or the remaining half will be set tomorrow. So obviously tomorrow night we'll have a full quarterfinal preview for you, both the men's and the women's. But today's video, we're just going to check in on what happened in the Musetti-Djokovic match that ended at 3 a.m. And we're going to look at all the other matches that happened in the last kind of day and a half, 2 days in Paris. So Djokovic beats Musetti again in 5 sets, coming back again against Musetti. If you remember back to 2021, Djokovic was down 2-1, 2-0 against Musetti, and he stormed all the way back. Last 2 sets were 6-0 and then 4-0, and then Musetti retired, which was a little bit weak in my opinion. Today, or yesterday actually, Djokovic started out strong against Musetti, and we'll show we'll look at the stats a little bit later here. And then Musetti won a tiebreaker in the second set versus Djokovic. And, everyone talks about the tiebreak record for Djokovic. This one was well played by Musetti. He was able to get over the line. And then it was a bit of a lull from Djokovic in the third set, a surge from Lorenzo, and he was able to take set 3. And Djokovic then does what he does best and locks right back in. Gets a fairly early break in the 5th game of the 4th set to get up in that set, sees it through, wins the set 6-3. And then who's more mentally tough? Who is more experienced? Who's more of a dog? Obviously, Novak Djokovic. He finds what he needed to find at 2 a.m. to win that last set 6-0 and walk away with a victory at 3 a.m. for Djokovic. So a bit of a battle for Novak earlier on in the tournament than he was probably hoping for. You know what I mean? So let's take a look here at some of the stats that I thought were interesting. So there you have it, 4.5 hours on court, 4 hours, 29 minutes. Musetti gets bagelled again by Djokovic at the French Open while being up or having been up. Serving, first serve percentage, 65% in, almost 70% win percentage on first serve. That's a pretty good number for Djokovic on the clay. It's interesting. Musetti got a decent second serve. He's got a nice kick on it. And that was getting a lot of purchase against even Djokovic on the clay here. If you go to more details, you look at break points converted. This is a pretty crazy stat. Musetti converted all 5 of the break points that he got against Djokovic. So Djokovic didn't save any break points, which is kind of crazy as well. Djokovic broke 9 times on 15 opportunities. So that's pretty interesting. Winners, Musetti, he played a great match. 53 winners, only 34 unforced errors. He is the guy who can play with Djokovic on the clay. He's beat him before in Monte Carlo last year. So he's just hasn't been able to find that level that Sinner and Alcaraz has found to beat Djokovic on the biggest stage here and believe that he can get through the match to do it. So he's just still a step behind those guys, but so is basically everyone else. So you can't really blame him. But yeah, that was a big time effort from Djokovic to come back to rip it away from Musetti again. And we'll look at the draw here in a second, but not before we go talk about Carlitos Alcaraz, who I feel has been kind of he hasn't been under the radar, obviously, but from what the matches I've watched of him, the parts of the matches that I've watched, he seems, one thing I've noticed about Alcaraz, it seems like he's like maybe lost a little bit of size. Maybe it's because he's not wearing muscle shirts anymore. He's wearing a t-shirt this time around and he's got the arm sleeve on, but he doesn't look as thick as he has in the past. And maybe that's not true. This is just the eye test, but he has been injured. So you would think he's been taking it easy, and it is now halfway through the season kind of thing. So I think these players coming into the off season can have their most strength, and then it's hard to keep weight on as the season goes. But he's looking a little lighter, a little leaner to me, and he's kind of he's not the talk of the town, I wouldn't say, coming into this. Sinner, what's he going to play? Wasn't he going to play coming into this? Djokovic, where is he at? The draw was so open. No one had Alcaraz as the clear favorite. So I feel like he's come in with a little less hype than other majors. French Open last year, you're like, is he going to do it? Is this going to be his time again to win on the clay? More hype coming in. This year, not so much, but he's been cooking. And he cooked Felix Auger-Aliassime, who could only laugh. Who, I will say, friend of the show, Felix Auger-Aliassime, and our guy, he's headed in the right direction, for sure. Made the final of Madrid, makes the fourth round here in Paris, and that's a good result for him. You can't blame him right now for losing to Carlos, but that's a great step. Fourth round in a major. He hasn't actually done that in a while, so good for Felix. But yeah, Carlos, he won in 3 sets, so it looks 6-3, 6-3, 6-1, I believe. So it looks like a destruction, but actually the first 2 sets it took some pretty freakish play from Alcaraz to take those sets or those breaks where he got them away from Felix. He also saved a few breaks with some crazy net play. So Carlos is looking good. And if his arm isn't bothering him, he's got just as good of a chance to win this tournament as anyone else in the draw. That's a fact. That's a fact. So yeah, speaking of the draw, let's look at it. Let's do it. So at the top here, we obviously saw Djokovic come through Musetti to now where he will play Francisco Cerundolo, who has been playing good. Takes out Tommy Paul 6-3, 3-6, 6-3, 6-3, 6-2. So that's a little scary. If you're a Djokovic fan, Cerundolo loves the clay, obviously has massive forehand, and that's going to be an interesting match for sure in the 4th round. Let's just look how long. So that was a quick match. Holy smokes. 2 hours and 50 minutes for 4 sets. That's pretty quick. So younger player. Djokovic spent 4.5 hours on the court versus Musetti. That's not great coming into that. Taylor Fritz comes through Kalkinakis in 5 sets. That would look like a war. He'll play Casper Ruud, who came in 4 sets through Echeverry. So Djokovic has got Cerundolo, then either Fritz or Ruud. So it's starting to get, Musetti, Cerundolo, Fritz or Ruud. That is starting to get a bit thick in the draw for Djokovic. So we're obviously going to keep a close eye on that. Zverev has overcome Griekspoor in a 5th set tiebreaker, which is pretty crazy. 5th set super tiebreaker. And Zverev's obviously been like I think he was the top of my power rankings coming in. So that wasn't a great, that was a battle for him. I wonder how long that took. How many hours was he on? 4 hours, 14 minutes. But he's through. But he'll play Holger Rune, who, speaking of a guy who hasn't had a lot of hype coming into this tournament, that's Holger Rune. But since he hasn't been having a great year, that's why. But really, at the French Open on the clay, he's about as dangerous as anyone, about as much of a dark horse as anyone. So Zverev's going to have his hands absolutely full there with Rune. I do think Zverev's coming through based on form, but that's going to be a tough match. De Minaur comes through Struff, and Medvedev gets through Machak. That's going to be a tough one. I'm almost leaning De Minaur there on the clay to come through into the quarterfinals of Roland Garros. So the quarterfinals on the bottom half are set. Rublev lost to Arnaldi, and he went psycho. That was pretty crazy to see. We're going to break that down tomorrow on a new video coming to our show or to the slice. So keep an eye out. Turn the notifications on for the slice because we got some new content coming tomorrow for you. And Arnaldi, who got through Rublev, then loses to Tsitsipas. Again, Tsitsipas, another guy, just creeping up, beats Zhang 6-3, 6-3, 6-1, loses 1 set to Arnaldi, cruises in the 3rd and 4th. He's playing Alcaraz, so that's just an incredibly big quarterfinal matchup. Tsitsipas versus Alcaraz. 2 of the contenders for this title, in my opinion, one of them is going to be knocked out in the quarterfinals. So that's crazy. And we're going to preview that more tomorrow on the quarterfinal preview, which will be crazy. Hurkacz comes through Shapovalov in 2 days where they had to resume play after the rain. Good result for Shapovalov, I think, third round. He's headed in the right direction, I think, as well, based on what I see, the way he was playing great. Or not playing, just playing in the way that he needs to play, playing within himself. He got a set there off Hurkacz, didn't have enough. But then Hurkacz goes on to lose to Dimitrov in 3 sets, 2 tiebreakers. So Dimitrov is playing great tennis. He's finding his good stuff. And he will play Sinner, who came through Mute, Corentin Mute, which I tuned into that match, and Sinner was down 5-0 in the first set, almost about to eat a bagel. Didn't. And then after winning that first set, flipped it around and cruised. Great result there for Mute to get to the 4th round of the French Open. So, yeah, let's go look at the women's draws as well. We got time. So we talked about Swiatek in the second round, almost losing to Osaka. We broke down that match. And then, she's taking her revenge out on then Bushkova and Potapova. Double bagel today against Potapova. That is just a bit savage. And Danilovic, the Cinderella run, comes to an end against Vondrousova, the 5th seed in the 4th round here. Danilovic had a great run, though. That was pretty amazing. Another Serbian star. Serbia still is a better tennis nation than almost every other nation on earth, mainly due to one player over the last 20 years. But so nowhere Danilovic, but Swiatek, Vondrousova, that's gonna be a big match in the quarterfinals. Coco Gauff comes through 6-1, 6-2. She's been creeping. She'll be playing Ons Jabeur, who that's a massive matchup in the quarterfinals as well. Huge women's quarterfinal matchups on the top, and then we're not there yet on the bottom half. But Paolini, who took up Bianca Andreescu to play Avansayan, and then Svitolina versus Rybakina. People get mad at me that I'm saying, or they think I'm saying Rybakina wrong. Go listen to her on the WTA website. I'm saying exactly how she says it. So everyone else says it wrong, apparently, because she's like, unless she's saying her name wrong, then I'm just saying how she says it. Grecheva versus Andreeva. Mira Andreeva, that is going to be a good one. Mira Andreeva takes out Stern 6-2, 6-1. And then Sabalenka, who came over Badosa 7-5, 6-1. She is playing Navarro, the 22nd seed, in the 4th round. So, again, we will break down the quarterfinals when they are fully set on both the men's and women's side of the draw. Let me know your thoughts down below on Djokovic playing 4.5 hours versus Musetti. What did you see? I was not able to watch the full match, so I'm going to need your help breaking down exactly the nuances of what happened and how or why Musetti can't find his best tennis at the end of these matches against a Djokovic. We kind of know what Djokovic brings to the table. Of course, we've seen him do it zillions of times, come back, beat players, drive him into the ground, and it was impressive to see it again for sure. And who's impressed you the most other than Djokovic getting through? Alcaraz. He hasn't been super hyped, I thought. Obviously Sinner has been playing great. He's through. Who's impressed you the most? Let us know down below. Thanks for being here. We'll see you tomorrow a couple of times here on The Slice. So thanks for subscribing and staying tuned. Turn on the notification bell to not miss any of our stuff. We'll see you soon. Thanks. Bye.